Welcome back to Emmy Reviews. Today I am reviewing Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. It just came out on Netflix. This is written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, along with Mark Gustafson as a credited for director, and Patrick McHale for the screenplay as well. This is starring Ewan McGregor, David Bradley, Gregory Mann, Christoph Waltz, Ron Perlman, John Turturro, Bern Gorman, Finn Wolfhard, Tim Blake Nelson, Tilda Swinton, and Kate Blanchett. This cast is stellar. I don't really need to say much. I am a huge fan of nearly every single person on there. I mean, some are a bit more newer, some of them are a bit more niche, but they've all got works that I love and enjoy. And it's so good to see them in something as seminal as this. Academy Award-winning filmmaker Guillermo del Toro reinvents Carlo Collodi's classic tale, The Wooden Marionette, who is magically brought back to life in order to mend his heart of a grieving woodcarver named Geppetto. This whimsical stop-motion musical directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafson follows the mischievous and disobedient adventures of Pinocchio in his pursuit of a place in the world. I wasn't particularly entranced in this showing. I was tired, life be what it is. But even within my little mini monolith trance, there were several moments where what was happening in the film brought me out, and it wasn't just the animation that was drawing me in. It was just the way that the story was unveiling, like the difference in the changes. Like straight off the bat, there's a new element added to the story where we get to see that Geppetto actually had a son once, and then I did think that whole bit at the beginning was a bit long, considering we all know that this kid needs to die in order for us to get to the bit where the puppet is. So it's just like you constantly rooting for when is this little boy Carlo gonna die, and then you realize, oh, there's planes, there's bombs, when is this? And then you see Nazis, and then you realize, oh, we're in World War II. It's a very different sort of time frame of when I know the Pinocchio story, so putting it into a much more contemporary setting relatively is quite interesting, and I like it. It's quite cool. And what is actually really great about this is that you're taking the framework of the lore, the themes and values of Pinocchio, and you're putting it at a time where obviously ideology is rampant. This kind of idea of what Pinocchio needs to go through, it does really fit in that era. Like it's the virtue of disobedience, of non-conformity, and conformity is what gave rise to so much fascism and death in Germany at that time. I think it's very interesting that Del Toro chose this era, whether or not it was actually his choice or not. But it's really there's a lot of love behind Del Toro, and he spent 15 years trying to get this idea done, and in the end, Netflix was the only one that turned around and said that he could do it, and it's great. I mean, the animation is just gorgeous. What's sad about it is the animation is so good that there were just times where I forget that I'm watching a stop motion animation, and that's really sad because the amount of care and work that goes into this kind of animation is incredible. And the movie magic, the movie techniques, the perspective that they have to put into making the models and such, it deserves respect. It deserves care. On top of that, the meta reference of using puppets in stop motion to demonstrate a narrative about a marionette puppet that comes to life. I mean, that's cool in itself. I mean, you get brownie points just for even thinking of that shit. I love it. It's fantastic. The thing that Pinocchio is always meant to me is the disillusion of naivety. Pinocchio is born from the witch that comes to help him. It's kind of different in this incarnation, but it's the same kind of idea. And then he's just a blank slate. So he just thinks great things about the world and wants to love and accept everyone. Yet his naivety is that he just doesn't understand that people with free will and agency aren't always benign. They're not always with good intentions. They've had hardships, they have learned how to survive, and they've learned to do it in quite ruthless ways. And deception is rife, especially in a time of poverty and strife. So you get things like him having to learn about the nature of lying, like how he shouldn't lie, but at the same time he also needs to learn about how to detect other people who lie, because they don't have a growing nose like he does. So he has to actually understand the nuances in people's intentions. And that's like one of the first steps of him becoming a boy, or being a person. It's really a story about, what values do you have to be a good person? And in the end, the reason why he becomes a real boy in the classic story is that he becomes less selfish. He becomes more invested in helping others to his own detriment. He's willing to sacrifice himself to save others, and that's an incredible kind of virtue to have. Also, Del Toro has said that a lot of this is essentially him talking about disobedience and the virtue in being disobedient over authority. When someone is telling you it's something and they're forcing you and they're threatening you, they're probably not right. They probably have something invested in to make sure that whatever it is they're saying stays, and that's not good. And you should stand your ground for that, because sometimes it's important to do so. Nazi Germany definitely was one of those times where we should not have conformed. Did I like the movie? I did. At first, I didn't really care, but after thinking about it and really deliberating on what kind of movie it was, I think it's very beautiful. It's a critical hit. Definitely watch it, support it, because Netflix did something good. You got all the other rubbish that they pump out that's constant, and then stuff like this happens, and it deserves respect. It's not the best movie ever. It's the same story that it usually is, but it has a different twist on it that isn't too far away from the original values, the core values and themes of what makes Pinocchio amazing. And because of that, it's all the better. It's a beautiful bit of animation, and it deserves a reward for putting all its effort in, and Del Toro as well. So what did you think about it? Did you see it? Did you see any of the other monstrosities that were pumped out by Disney, in fact? I mean, I'm not going to watch those. I can't bring myself to watch it. I'm not going to. But still, let me know in the comments. Thanks for the likes. Love to subs. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.